So once again, welcome. So you've joined Toastmasters. Now what? You are probably thinking, what is this thing I've gotten into? You're probably feeling excited about this new journey you're about to go down, but you've got a lot of sort of questions in mind about what exactly that might look like and how you might get the best of it. I know that I had these questions when I first started in Toastmasters back in 2018. And it was only with time and experience and going through my own journey as a Toastmaster that I figured out where I felt the experience would be most meaningful to me. And there are many ways that you can embrace your experience as a Toastmaster here with us in District 21. So, what can you expect this evening? We're going to go over a little bit of Toastmasters history with you. We're going to talk about where you belong within Toastmasters International as an organization. We will tell you a little bit about District 21 and what exactly District 21 means and what it should mean to you. We will talk to you a little bit about Toastmasters leadership, some of your member experience and online tools. We'll also touch on club meeting roles, some of the awards and recognition that we hand out, as well as how we can support you in your journey, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A. So this part will take about 30 minutes before we move on to our Pathways orientation part of the meeting. So first and foremost, the founding of Toastmasters. Well, that happened way back in 1924. You can count it right. That is about 101 years ago, so hence my background. And who was responsible for that? A gentleman called Dr. Ralph C. Smedley. His location was down in Santa Ana, California. And the reason for him starting Toastmasters was all to do with providing a supportive environment where individuals could build confidence through speaking on opportunities and provide peer feedback to each other. So what you see here is an early image of Dr. Smedley going through a club meeting in, it looks like a basement of some sort. And I will pause here for a moment and just have you kind of look and see if you didn't already notice, it's all men. So yes, Toastmasters originated first with all men as part of the initial clubs that formed, according to kind of what Dr. Ralph Smedley had envisioned putting the first clubs together for. Now, his vision that speaking skills are learned by speaking, and that structured meetings, prepared speeches, such as, and also table topics as impromptu speaking and evaluations could contribute to those speaking skills, with the key principle, again, being peer learning and supportive feedback. That formula was simple. The structure plus repetition formed the very heart of every Toastmasters meeting and fueled its growth that we know and enjoy today. So across America between the 1930s and 40s, there was a rapid expansion of Toastmasters in the US. It appealed to many types of individuals, mainly professionals, educators, and students. And then clubs established in major cities outside of California. So again, we started in 1924, in October 1924, but by the 1940s, Toastmasters clubs were actually thriving from coast to coast. And this was driven by a demand for communication skills in business and academics. So near and dear to our heart is the first steps abroad for Toastmasters outside of the US. So in 1935, the first club outside of the US in Canada, of who we proudly can say is the first Canadian Toastmasters club, right here in District 21, formerly called the Victoria Toastmasters Club number 38, chartered in Victoria. So we've got many members until today who proudly boast that they're part of First Canadian. And again, that is right here in District 21. We also boast the second club chartered within Canada here in District 20 in 1936, and that is the Vancouver Toastmasters Club number 59. If you have ever visited Vancouver Club 59, you know that they will proudly let you know they are from Club 59, and rightfully so, as again, they are the second oldest club in Canada to be chartered. So it's history right here on District 21 soil. So in 1942, there was an official formation of Toastmasters International as we know it today. And then as of today, it is present in about 149 plus countries around the world globally. So in the beginning, Toastmasters, as I mentioned, it was set up for the intention of growing this professional and public speaking skills for men in communities. But women quickly entered that picture only within a couple of years. And so mainly a few historical points here. In 1937, a bulletin appeared appealing to membership to allow a Toastmistress member to become part of Toastmasters. So as you can see, this is in reference to inviting female guests as to convert to members. In 1973, women were then officially admitted as members by Toastmasters International, the organization. So it took a few decades, but officially the admission of females happened in 1973. So that was a monumental time for women around the world. And then in 1985, Helen Blanchard became Toastmasters' first female international president. And so history in the making over, only a few decades apart, 50 years, women are a big part of Toastmasters as of today. And we are here to stay. And we are here to learn alongside our male counterparts, leaders, and together we form that Toastmasters experience that we all work together and towards. Now, the Toastmasters organizational structure. You see here an upside down pyramid with the members, that is you, at the very top. And through and through, that really is the mandate of our organizational structure, that it is about the member. It's about the members, and then it's about the clubs down to the area, division, district, your region, and then Toastmasters or as an organization, and then world headquarters. World headquarters really supporting the ultimate needs of the members at the very top. So we'll talk a little bit about what some of these structural layers look like that are most impactful to you. And of course, when you're talking about leadership roles, sort of just mentioned here very quickly on the bottom of the slide, at the local level, or what is most impactful to you right now as a new member or a guest, is that of the club officer roles. So there are 7 primary club officer roles, plus that of what I would say is also a very important role, that is an immediate past president, not to be forgotten. And so those local leadership roles may be some of the very first leadership experiences that you may have as a Toastmaster. Now, today, after our little history lesson, you're going to learn all about our educational curriculum. But do know that our educational path has gone through an evolution. And so the legacy tracks These are former, I'm going to call it curriculum that we had put out before the current today, which you're going to learn about. We would go through the competent communication and the competent leadership um, paths here. Then in 2017, there was the launch of what we currently know today as our Pathways learning. And so here, sort of in that round visual of different symbols, there were different paths that one could select and work through different projects and levels, essentially to obtain proficiency in one of these paths. So this is a big part of advancing through your own personal and professional development within Toastmasters. So big part of it, and it forms there are a lot of our goals as well are centered around members thriving in our education track. So you'll learn more about that today, this evening. Of course, Toastmasters has attracted some very notable alumni, some of who you see up on screen here. To mention a few, Napoleon Hill, he is the author of Think and Grow Rich. That is a picture of him reading his literature up on screen there, top right. Debbie Fields, founder of Mrs. Fields Cookies. So this experience in Toastmasters helped Debbie to where she basically built an empire for herself, as we all would recognize her brand. And so those skills were gained by Debbie in Toastmasters. And of course, countless business leaders, politicians, and entertainers. Two of my favorite here, Tim Allen, you may recognize him from Home Improvement. And then my favorite, Spock, Leonard Nimoy, who proudly will let you know, would have let you know, that is, that he was a Toastmaster. So impact and legacy with over 364,000 members worldwide. For the date of these statistics put together that I'm presenting, it's a focus on mentorship, evaluation, and practice. There's a culture of encouragement and continuous improvement. There are always changes in Toastmasters, and these changes, of course, in the last 5 years, as you can imagine, since our coming through and coming out of, especially a major event like the pandemic, has been changed. It's been turned upside down. We've been tested and tried. And what rings true today is our very goals. They drive us the same way they did back in 1924. It might look a little different. As I mentioned, the education, it had evolved. The modes of how we meet and how we communicate have also evolved, but it has always and will always remain centered around encouragement and a continuous improvement. So looking ahead, embracing online and hybrid meeting formats. Some of you may be part of an online club. Some of you may be part of a hybrid. Maybe you're completely in person. Maybe you're curious about visiting another club that offers these options. The world's kind of your oyster when it comes to Toastmasters, because you'll find something that will you'll always find something that will suit sort of your preferences. So that's the beauty, that there's a variety out there. There's continued expansion in emerging markets. So many times you will see a club maybe that is centered around a certain niche or industry or corporate type club or a community type club. And so we are always, as a district and as an organization, looking to see how can we expand further into kind of different segments to help deliver our message and help more people. And then commitment to, again, helping people find their voice. So, of course, this is an endless part of what we do, and will always be a part of what we do as Toastmasters. You'll come to learn that as you get going with your own journey. So, um, so I wanted to kind of just show you this. Again, this was sort of that original first slide where I talked about October 22nd, 1924, with Ralph Smedley. I like this slide just to show you the evolution of just how the brand has changed. If you see there on the top left, that was one of the first original logos of Toastmasters that you would have seen on the first, you know, maybe meeting documents or education type documents, slowly evolving into kind of more refined imaging, and then turning slowly over the decades into sort of a more colored branding. And then sort of right centered in the middle there is the Toastmasters International logo that would have attracted you to join this session today. But we also celebrated our centennial year last year in 2024 with our centennial logos all around the world and in all of our districts and internationally with this very nice 100-year logo. So if you see somebody wearing the 100-year Toastmasters logo, just know that that is a very special limited edition type of symbol to be proud of, and that you should be proud of too, as you consider or continue in your Toastmasters journey. So I mentioned earlier that there are different districts around the world, and those districts are within different regions around the world. So I just want to give you an idea of really how big Toastmasters is. So today, your hosts are us at District 21, but if you are a Toastmaster, and there are a few of us that are online today that can attest to this, you're a Toastmaster anywhere in the world. You are welcome to visit really any club that is accepting guests or even new members. You're empowered to join really as many clubs as you like. Once you're a Toastmaster, you're always a Toastmaster. So here up on screen here, you'll see our world map, and it is broken out into different regions. There are currently 14 different regions all around the world. And if we hone in on the far left, so the green sort of area there, the western part of North America, that's region 1. So that's inclusive of Alaska and as well the Hawaiian Islands. But of course here, that spans into us here in Canada as British Columbia and Yukon. And so if you look really closely there, you'll see that they are numbered by districts. And so when somebody asks you, what district are you with? You can say, I'm part of District 21, British Columbia, and Yukon. So there are a few different regions and a few different districts all across Canada, but just know we all sing from the same song sheet, but embrace our unique look and feel. That's the beauty of being part of Toastmasters. So remember, Region 1, District 21. Now, with District 21, as of today, my district director may challenge me on maybe some of these figures. Things change all the time. But at the start of the year, we kicked off with about 190 clubs. And what was special about this year is that we actually, as District 21, we were previous to this year, we were 2 districts that came to be 1 district. And so this number that you see of 190 clubs is is a union of two districts that were neighbors for about a decade. And so it's a pretty important year for us this year as we embrace our theme of one vision, one success. We have about 3,200 members at the moment within District 21. And our district is then divided up further into 9 different divisions. Now, what's a division? Well, you can see that on screen here. It is generally, as I've kind of summarized it for you. So if you're on the call today, just kind of situate in your mind, okay, based on where you're dialing in from, where do you fit in? I hope that we have maybe some Division A, Vancouver Island, Greater Victoria members online with us. We were on Vancouver Island actually over the weekend and promoted this session. So I do hope you're online with us, as well as Division B. We've got the Sunshine Coast, our Sea to Sky, which is where my co-host Maureen is tuning in with us live from. And as well, different parts of, as I mentioned, our district spanning British Columbia and Yukon. So 9 different divisions. And then those are further broken down into 42 areas. Each of these divisions and areas, they are actually led by directors of what we call area directors and division directors. And so I won't go through it in too much detail here, but this is part of my reference earlier to the different leadership tracks that you can look forward to being part of Toastmasters. Now, not everybody is out to be a leader in Toastmasters, but if that is something you're looking to sharpen your skills on, flex your muscle on outside of the Toastmasters world, this is where you're going to get that practice. So you've got club officers, the 7 plus the immediate past president, as I mentioned, area directors supporting those club officers, division directors supporting your area directors. And then we have district core team members, finance, admin, logistics, and then our immediate past district director. And then what we call your immediate trio, which is what Louisa Davis, online with us today, our district director, and myself, we represent our trio team alongside Mark Harrell, our club growth director for this year. We are supported by our region advisors, international president and vice presidents, and there's a whole bunch of other leaders that support them as well. And so it is, there's quite a few layers, but again, it is member at the top is most important, and that's what feeds everything else in that pyramid, upside down pyramid, that is. So a couple things you should know as a new member or as a soon-to-be member. Maybe you're an existing member, maybe you forgot. You have a few different tools available to you to manage your experience. You've got a profile that you would have available and created for you by Toastmasters International, and you would access that by going to toastmasters.org. So here's an example of what that looks like. Through here, you can update your personal information. You will have a member number assigned to you. I meant it when I said, when you're a Toastmaster, once you're a Toastmaster for life, you'll have the same member number following you around for eternity. You can find that number here, unless you memorize it. Like I haven't yet, but I think I will before the end of the year. The number of times I've had to write it down. Your club details or your clubs, different clubs that you might be with, all the details are there. Again, you could be part of more than one club. Anything that you might want to order from the Toastmasters shop. There is an online store, lots of promo materials there, apparel, different types of literature that you can, bring back to your clubs, or, personal, items that you can help use to help organize yourself are awards, recognition for your members, fellow members. Let's say you're holding a special event, you can access all of those from Toastmasters site. But more importantly, your education track, where you access it, it will be through here. I won't go through it now because we have an expert that's going to tell you all about that very shortly. So remember, you've got a Toastmasters International member profile through toastmasters.org. So that stays with you as long as you are an active member. You can access this there. Then you have another type of resource online, and that is through our local District 21 website. And to go there, you go to d21toastmasters.ca. In the top bar, where it says log out on my example, you would actually see log in. And if you're visiting there for the first time, it's very easy to just click on register, follow the steps, and from there you'd be able to create your own profile. You can share a bio about yourself. You can associate yourself to one of our District 21 clubs and also help support your club by publishing things like events, news articles, again, all through this local d21toastmasters.ca site. We always share lots of updates through there. We also have an events link. You can see here on the example, just along the top there, the events sort of drop down. There's an events calendar. You'll see today's session in there on every last Thursday of the month. But you can also filter through to see our different club officer training events. It'll be soon updated with about 9 different speech contest dates and 42 area contests. So that's an exciting time for us. I won't go into speech contests in detail today, but just know speech contest season is some of the most exciting time in Toastmasters. And for this year, our district is holding contests starting December 1st through to our district annual conference happening in April next year. And it's some of our very best talent showcasing to compete all the way through a potential chance to compete at the World Championship of Public Speaking. So you'll be able to see when those contests are on our events page. So you can certainly go visit. You don't need to be a member to access that events page. You can certainly go there as a guest without a login. So feel free to do that. And I hope you come out and watch the excitement because it is quite the time to see people in competition. So we're coming down to the last few slides here. Again, just to take some time and talk about your potential member experience that you can get out of joining this organization. You can do that by attending regular club meetings. You can take on meeting roles. A big part of the practice makes perfect, taking on those meeting roles, facilitation skills, delivering speeches. It can turn into you competing in speech contests. And side by side to delivering speeches, giving evaluations to people who deliver speeches or who may perform roles. I can say probably practicing evaluations is one of my favorite things. But now time for me to practice my speech writing. So I may ask me about that after this year, where I can focus a little bit more time. But for now, all of these things are within your grasp as a Toastmaster, working through your education track, visiting other clubs, starting new clubs is another big one. If you are part of, a company, an organization, maybe you're part of a different, a specific part of your community, starting new clubs is one way to embrace our different sort of leadership tracks. It also helps contribute to our district goals, but also you're adding something to your community where, again, professional and public speaking, and personal growth, public speaking skills will be offered, again, all thanks to you. We have lots of people that are ready to help support those types of efforts, and ultimately, starting new clubs is actually one of our main missions year over year as Toastmasters. I won't read the rest. You can read for yourself. You can hit backwards or forwards on this recording when you eventually get there, but these are all the different ways that you can embrace uh, your member experience. Very quickly, here are all the different types of meeting roles that you can partake in. Some of our education, they would require you to participate in taking a meeting role. So if you ever want to learn more about what each of these roles means, there's resources online that describe that. But your club would also help coach you through doing one of these roles for the first time. And each club kind of has their unique way of doing the roles, which makes it even more interesting. So yes, club meetings, it is that's where we get our practice. And so you'd be practicing essentially by participating in these roles. Lastly, there is awards and recognition that you can look forward to as you move through your member experience. Here are just some of the different awards that we hand out, but it's not limited to this. I could tell you, I would need endless slides to show you all of the different pins, ribbons, trophies, plaques, certificates that we have that you can look back on and share with your employer, maybe with for reference purposes. And it's pretty cool when you start seeing yourself getting really decorated with all of these achievements. Another exciting thing is we do have an annual conference that happens each year as a district. It is in person. This year, it is happening April 17th to 18th at the Executive Vancouver Airport Hotel. And it is open to members as well as guests as well, non-members. So if you want to know more, you can visit our district website for information, but that's another very exciting time for us to celebrate as a district annually. So how can we help you? If there's something specific that you want us to do to help you meet your goals, we are here to listen and help bring those resources, tools to you as part of your member journey. If there's something that you need to set your own timeframes, or if you need a certain type of encouragement or a nudge, we are here to help cater to those different types of needs that you have. We have club mentors, and we have mentors within your club to help you with your individual goals as well. So you've got lots of help around you, and no one journey is the same. So I probably have time for maybe 2 questions. I will pause here for a moment and take a glance back at my screen. Does anybody have a question? If there are no questions, if I could ask our district director, Louisa Davis, to give us some closing remarks before I introduce our next speaker.
Okay. Well, first of all, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yes, you are joining a pretty prestigious group that has been around for a long time. And I've been around for a long time myself. I've been around since 2002. And I wanted to just encourage you because it's easy to just eat the bread and butter, the easy stuff, attend the meetings, and do nothing more with your membership. It's one of those organizations where the more you put in, the more you get out. There's a smorgasbord of opportunities. And today, Maureen is going to explain to you some of the opportunities you have with the education program. If you dive in, you explore the online learning that's there. You take advantage of your club and giving speeches. You attend meetings regularly and give evaluations and get feedback. You're going to grow and learn beyond what you could believe. And once you get your feet wet and you've started tasting from the buffet, there'll be opportunities to move beyond your club, to compete in contests, to attend trainings, to visit other clubs, and to live and learn from everybody. And at the end of this summer in August, we're actually here in Vancouver hosting the World Convention, and you're welcome to attend that as well, with thousands of people from 150 plus countries around the world. It's kind of like the Olympics of public speaking. In any case, I don't want to take up too much time today, but I am very thrilled to have you here. And if you want to get the most out of it, the more you put in, the more you get out. Volunteers, say yes to becoming a member, to helping out with the club, to becoming a club officer, and definitely make sure that you get your first couple of speeches in the next month or so. And here to present all of that is Maureen McBeath. Maureen.
Well, thank you, Louisa. Good evening, everyone. You've heard an awful lot about what this organization is and its background. And now what we need to do is get you totally involved. And I would love to see some faces on here. There's an awful lot of names. If you can put on your video and let's see you. There you are, Kathy. Thank you so much for doing that. How about a few more joining in? It's nice if I can just talk to people and find out a little bit about you and about your club, what you've been doing so far. If you've been, I just want you to think about this. Are you brand new to Toastmasters? Have you been in Toastmasters before and you've come back to Toastmasters? But oh my goodness, what is all this stuff about Pathways? Let's find out a little bit. Thank you. We've got Dave. We've got lots of people showing themselves now. Thank you, Natalie. All right, let me start with Kathy. Kathy, did you just join Toastmasters or have you been in it before? What's your story?
I've been a Toastmaster for about 7 years, and within 6 months of joining, I became VP of Education. I have been president, and I'm VPE, well, multiple times, and I am again this year. So it's always a learning experience, right?
Okay, and that helps me out because now I know that there's somebody there that already done all of this stuff, and she's still coming back to learn more things. So that's really, really good. Kate, what about you?
Sorry, I'm joining from the climbing gym, so I don't know if you'll be able to hear me very well, but I only started in maybe September of this year. So I'm pretty new. I do my first ever speech next week. I've done a couple of roles, but nothing, no proper speeches. So I'm excited.
One question, have you actually picked a path and you're working in a path already?
I haven't picked a path yet. That's why I'm joining.
Great.
Yeah, I'll just be doing I think it's called Icebreakers or whatever the first one is.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to be covering a lot on that. So we've already got the whole gambit. We've got Kate that's just walked through the door, and we've got Kathy that's been running around in that spinning door for about 8 years or so. So you can see that we're going to have to cover a lot of things in a short period of time. But I do stay on afterwards. And if anybody's having trouble with stuff, I'll do troubleshooting. We can even go and have a look at the Toastmasters website. We'll do all of that kind of thing. Natalie, tell me where are you at with all of this? Unmute, Natalie. That's the first big thing. Unmute so we can hear you.
Sorry, I'm trying and I seem to have a really bad connection. See, there's all this feedback and I don't know if it's just on my end. I just joined in October and I've done about 4 speeches. I also joined other Toastmasters. So I've done most of my speeches live and I've done the other Toastmasters I've joined.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. Maybe your connection isn't great. Am I right in
she started in October and she's done about 4 speeches and she does them mostly in person.
All right, and it could be mine is breaking up. I'm over here on the Sunshine Coast, and every once in a while we get interference. And if I start breaking up, please give me some. We can't hear you.
You're crystal
things.
clear.
Okay, that's great. Okay, is it Dar? Have I got that right?
It's Dare.
Dare. Dare. So tell me a little bit about, are you new to Toastmasters?
Yes, I'm new. I've only attended a few meetings as a guest, and I just recently became a member. So I'm really excited to get the best out of it.
Okay, great. All of this information is going to be key. And Oksana, am I anywhere close?
Yes, that's correct, Oksana. I joined a Unicorn Tribe Toastmaster Club here in Richmond in November, 2 weeks ago. I first visited their open house. I really loved the club members, and yesterday we visited the first meeting. So I'm brand new to everything. I looked through some pathways and looking forward to learn more about them and then to choose one to start my education.
Okay, great. And that's what we want. We wanted the new people to be coming here, and we'll help you to get set up. Min, what about you? What's your experience and what are you looking forward to?
I am a new member. I joined Toastmasters last month. I pretty much take a different position every meeting. It's been 7 meetings, almost 7, yeah, 6 meetings. I did my icebreaker speech last week, and I'm really enjoy it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And that's it. Even if we come in the door trembling, once we get over the icebreaker, we're just feeling better already. Like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe I could really do this. All right. Is it Andrea or Andre?
Who, me?
Yes.
Yeah, Andrea.
Andrea.
I was a guest in September and then joined right away. I haven't been part of Toastmasters before, but I've heard of it before when I had junior members of my team who had a lot of trouble doing public speaking. They actually joined Toastmasters. So now I've joined a little bit for myself because I'm doing quite a bit of public speaking through work, as well as coming to check out the club to see how this might be useful for actually our broader team. So hopefully our little club will become quite big in the new year.
Okay, really great. A lot of new people tonight. That's neat. Vanessa, are you there? Can you just let me know what your situation is? All right, I'll move on. Glenda, are you still with us? Maybe not. And what about,
Maureen,
yes?
can I just interrupt? I just wanted to make an announcement. If somebody thinks that they're not able to communicate with the camera on, or if you don't have a microphone, go ahead and type your question or comment in the chat, and I
Mhm.
can read it aloud for you if you'd like. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Frank. That would be a really great idea. All right. Is there anyone else there who would like to share their situation? Otherwise, I'm going to move on with the program. Okay, hearing nothing, I'm going to bring up my slides now. Just give me a second to get them in place. Oh, don't you know it? All right, and let's go slideshow so you can really see it right. Nice big on your screen. So give me some head nods if you're seeing some slides. Yes. Very good. Wonderful. So I call this demystifying pathways because when people come in, they say, well, what on earth is pathways? I mean, well, what are we doing? Going hiking here? No, not really. You are going to hike through an awful lot of material, and we're going to see some of that tonight. But I'm going to try and simplify that. I'm going to try and demystify it, take away the mystery, and just tell you what it is we do. So the whole idea behind this is Pathways is a learning experience. It's been our newest program. They had a pretty set program, as we heard from Melody a little earlier, that there was a set program for a very, very long time. And then we got into the digital age. And I think you can understand that when you get up to around 360,000 people around the world, working in about 9 different languages, and they were putting out manuals and mailing them out all over the world on a daily basis. They needed to go to digital, that we could just all go into the stuff, we could work in it, we could move around in it, we could watch tutorials. You can't get that out of a manual. And there was just so many things. We could watch videos and see how other people are doing things and how they're doing vocal variety or how they're doing gestures on Zoom or whatever it is. We could start seeing that instead of just picking up something that looks like a magazine and reading through it. So they expanded the program, they brought it alive, and they brought it right into our homes and into our computers and our laptops, and even on your phone. It's even as an app, you can get it any way you want it. But you have to understand that we are an education system, but we try to make it fun. Some of the meetings are a little bit more to the point, especially corporate meetings, because they've only got 1 hour and they've got to get through the material. Some of our community clubs, that's what the table topics is all about, is to have some fun and to do other things. And so many people are doing the engaging humor path because it's just fun. And once you get through the beginnings of things and you can start breathing a little easier when you get up to speak, you'll realize that there's lots there that you can do, and there are lots of choices. So let's get on with this so you can see how it's put together. So this learning experience is very, very self-directed. They've now narrowed it down to 6 paths of learning, and they're very, very similar. And I'm going to show you how they're more similar than they're different. But the differences bring you some really interesting bits of learning. If you want leadership, if you're moving into management positions, or you can even be with a volunteer group and you're trying to get people working together, there's a great dynamic leadership program. If it's just speaking you want to be better speaking, whether it's with your high school kids that are fighting with you over the car keys or whatever it is, if you want to improve your speaking, presentation mastery. So we've got different paths. If you just want to have some fun with your speaking, we've got the engaging humor. But what happens is when you start working through these programs, you do that icebreaker, and then you move on to another speech. And you're putting these things together, and you're getting up and you're speaking on a regular basis. What comes out of it is something we can't teach you, but you get because of the practice. You get self-confidence. And every time you step up and you do a little bit more, that self-confidence grows. So here's what I'm going to cover in about the next half hour. The very first thing you have to do is log into Toastmasters. It's like as if you are going to take some instruction in anything, whether it's music or sports or whatever it is. And they say, oh, and there's some books in the library on that, and you don't go anywhere near the library. Well, you're cutting yourself off from all of the information. Now, some people are going to probably help you. There's people you're going to watch in the club and see what they do, because we learn a lot from that, is watching the other members. You might even get a mentor in your club, someone who's going to help you. But this key information that's been put together by professionals is all there on the Toastmasters website. And when you paid your initial membership fee, I think it's now $25, you get that first path of learning, which is 15 of these tutorials with videos and everything, 15 of them. You got that for the $25. A ton of learning. But if you don't go there, it's like walking past the library and never stepping in the door. So in these paths, we call them paths of learning because you work through them almost on a step-by-step basis. Once you've done the icebreaker, which is talking about yourself, because that's the thing you know the most about, then you work on a topic of anything you want. and you learn about doing a speech with purpose, that there's something in it for your audience. And then from there, you move on to vocal variety and body language and that sort of thing. And we keep building and building and building through the whole 15 projects in a path. So we're going to look at the similarities and difference. And if you haven't picked a path yet, I'm going to give you hopefully enough information that will help you to pick a path. Every path has got 5 levels. And there's a certain amount of work that needs to be done in each one. But it's up to you how fast you do it. There are people that come in and will finish a path in a year. There are people, it will take them 5 years. We're not concerned. We think you need to work at it as you can. People have busy lives, families, jobs, and so on. We can't determine how often you should speak, but we kind of suggest that you're giving a speech probably about once a month, and you're doing a couple of roles in the meeting over each month. So you have to select a path. That's one of the big things. And then there's this delivery system. That's what I'm talking about with tutorials and videos. And we'll explain a little bit about that and how you get into it. So what are these paths all about? Well, I said there's one that's focused mainly on leadership, but that's only 5 projects out of the 15. The other 10, everybody does the first one. Everybody does the first level, and it's the same in every path. And if you do another path later on, you'll go back to review that information that you do in level 1, because it's the basics, the fundamentals that we build on. Speaking, humor, motivation. There's one on persuasive strategies and things like that. And then there's another one called visionary communication, which is a really nice follow-up to presentation mastery. So I've mentioned that there's 15 projects. They're all online, and each one of them culminates in you giving a speech. Now, you're not studying the information and just regurgitating it to the group. You're writing a speech and incorporating what you've learned. So if it's about a speech with purpose, you're finding a story or something that's interesting to you, and you present it in such a way that there's a purpose to it. Let me give you an example. You go on a holiday, and you come back and you got some really great pictures, and you want to show people. And so you do a speech around this holiday on where you went and what you did. That's a really nice travelogue. But if something happened on this holiday, maybe you lost your passport, or maybe you got somewhere and the room you thought you had booked, there was no room. What did you do about it? When you explain what you had to do to get a passport, or how you found somewhere to stay in this very, when we look at tourism today, there aren't extra rooms just sitting around. What did you do about it? And it kind of becomes a bit of a lesson in this is one of the ways you can solve this problem. Then it becomes a speech with purpose. Because those of us as the audience have got something to take away. Besides seeing your lovely pictures, we've learned a few things along the way. So that's what changes the speech to purpose. And that's just a small smidgen of what you will get in about a 20 to 30 minute tutorial. Some of it you will read, some of it is in video. So then that's the 5 projects that are very, very specific to a path. And I said, level 1 is the same in all the paths. You do not miss anything. Everybody gets the fundamentals. And even those 5 projects that are in the other paths, they're rotated into the electives. There's 21 electives. So if you see something that someone else has done and they're in a different path, you look for it in the electives. The project is probably there because there's 60 of them in total. You're only going to be doing 15. So you get a lot of things to pick from. So let's move on. Let's look very specifically at level 1. In just hearing all of you tell me that you've just started out, you've been in it for just a few months. I think we've only got Kathy, who's a long-term and is a VPE and has experience. So a VPE is that person that puts together the agendas, brings you the information, helps you get set up. If you would like a mentor from someone in the club, probably would help set you up with that. And the first thing you're going to do is this icebreaker, 4 to 6 minutes. We're not talking about having to give us your life history. Share with us something you're interested in. Share with us an experience you've had. Share with us something about your career and why you wanted to go into that career. Whatever it is, something in your life that you would like to share with others so they would understand you just a little bit better. Maybe you're playing a sport at a high level, or you're in music. Whatever it is, your club members are going to just love to know some of those things about you. And when you keep going to the meetings and other people give their icebreakers and you start hearing people's stories, you just get to know them better. And your club becomes a family of people that are sharing an experience and helping each other to learn. I mentioned the vocal variety and body language because that's what carries your speech from just being something's read off a piece of paper, and you get rid of the piece of paper and you start really connecting with your audience. These are the things you're going to learn. Evaluation and feedback. That's what makes Toastmasters so different from almost any other training program you're going to get, is on a regular basis, you're going to get feedback. And we're not talking about criticism here or telling you everything that you did wrong. Most of us know right away, oh, I forgot that whole paragraph. Oh, I probably didn't speak up enough. I think I was shaking. We know the first thing they're going to tell you, or they should be telling you, because it's on the evaluation form, is what did you do well? We so often beat up on ourselves that we don't even think about what we did well. Oh, I made some eye contact. Oh, I bet nobody noticed. Well, I'll bet you somebody will notice. People are going to tell you what you've done well. They're going to pick out maybe one, at most, I would think 2, things that you might be able to improve. They might be saying, there were a lot of filler words in that icebreaker. And we all use filler words. And that's one of the things you might want to cut back on, because a filler word is just giving you time to think. And you'll think even better if you just take a pause. So they're going to help you with those kinds of little gems that are going to make your speeches even better than it already is. And then they'll usually finish off with some kind of a wrap up to what they got from your speech. So that's what the evaluation part is. It should help you to know what you're already doing well so that you'll keep doing those things. And it's going to help you to improve. Once you've had that experience and you've given a speech, you've used the feedback, giving that speech again, then we want you to evaluate someone in the club. You're going to have watched people evaluate. You're going to have looked at the evaluation forms. You're going to watch the tutorial. All those things are going to help you prepare to be an evaluator. And while you're working through level 1, you're going to at least once be a table topic speaker, and usually before you've even given an icebreaker. That evaluator role that you've done, that counts as a meeting role. And then you can pick to be the timer or the awe counter. Depends on what your club needs. And you will check with your VPE. And some of us are hopeless at timing, and they'll say time once and practice. And other people are just gems at it. They can work that button so fast. But we do like to time everything we do so that everyone has equal opportunity. This is what an evaluation form looks like. They're pretty generic, but the one thing that changes is the purpose. Each speech has a specific purpose. That's the one thing you want to look at. And read the notes for the evaluator, because that's what they're going to be looking for in your speech. Make sure that you've got that in your content. And there it says right in the top thing, you excelled at. That's their first comment. So nothing to be concerned about. Now, we need to take a test drive. I would love if we were just going to Toastmasters International, but the problem is I did that for one group the other night, my own home club. In 7 minutes, I think we waited nearly 4 minutes for sometimes the stuff to load up. So I have most of this on screenshots from my own experience at working through things, and we're going to go through those. So the first thing I want you to note, oh, let me tell you, this whole slide deck, I can send the whole thing to you. If you've signed up and we've already got your email address, Melody will provide me with that and I can send it out. If you're concerned or you want to make sure that I'm going to send this out to you, put your name in the chat box and your mail address, and I will send this to you. And then you can just watch through it to see all the steps that you can go through to do things. So the very, very first thing you need to do, and almost memorize this one, it's already been said a couple times tonight, toastmasters.org. Toastmasters is an organization, so it's toastmasters.org, and that is the gateway to all of this information and to all your learning experiences. And this is what happens. You go to toastmasters.org. This is what's going to pop up. Sometimes they change the 100 thing to something else, but right now you can't log in unless you've been in already and done all of this stuff. But for those that are brand new, you can't log in. So the thing is further down this page, when it invites you to log in, you go to the section right down at the bottom that I've highlighted in yellow. First time logging in, create a password. All you have to do is click on that. It's like with any other thing you join, from Amazon to Spotify, you have to create a password. So you're going to go through that, create a password. It might come to you immediately. Remember, there's thousands of people around the world getting on this website on almost a daily basis. Sometimes it seems it might be 24 hours before you get the password sent to you. You're going to get it 47293 ABCK type thing. And then you can go in, you use that to enter, putting in an email address that you're going to now use all the time with Toastmasters. You've got 4 or 5 different email addresses. Pick one that's going to be your Toastmasters one. Put in that password, log in. Then you have the opportunity to change the password to anything you want. I have to tell you that in all the years I've been in Toastmasters now, 18 years, this is the one organization I don't get any junk mail from. I get a lot of email, but it's not junk mail. I've had no third-party stuff come in. I've had no hacks, whacks, or anything else through the Toastmasters website. So that's pretty darn good considering the size of it and how many people they're dealing with in 140 some countries. Okay, so you develop that password. Now when you go in, it's actually going to say your name. And when you click on your name, it's going to be your homepage. So my homepage looks like this. Your homepage at the beginning is all it's going to do is say choose a path. And I obviously had this slide I'll update this one before September this year. And some of the other things is when these other things start coming up, like view of the navigator, go in and have a good look at that. You saw some history on Toastmasters today, but this has got all the information, all the questions you would want to ask. It's got stuff on Pathways. It's got all kinds of learning stuff in there. It's just a great tool. It tells you all about the meetings, the club officer roles, the meeting roles, everything in this navigator thing. Basecamp is where all of your personal stuff is held. So the path that you pick to work in will be stored there. So just think mountaineering. They have a place where they have the tents with all the food. Well, here's your brain food, and it's all here, all at Basecamp. And then we're going to go along. So when I open up mine, it has all of this stuff, including my achievement board, and that navigator is now hidden away in something called the Learning Hub. And the Learning Hub even goes bigger than just that. So once that's all set up, all you do when you come in now is hit on Basecamp. But let's have a look at what is in that Learning Hub. So here, this is the top half of the page. So you've got resources, the Toastmasters magazine going back digitally, I don't know, maybe 20 years. They've got tons of neat things. You can look up almost anything, storytelling, humor, different things. You can read about clubs around the world. I've just been talking to somebody and they're doing an article on the youth leadership program. and what we're doing in schools and with different groups of young people and bringing Toastmasters programs to them as well. So there's all of this stuff, and there's the welcome to you from Toastmasters in here. You've got, that's the Navigator book I was talking about. It's just like a magazine, and you just flip page, you can go page to page to page. So tons and tons and tons, speeches, evaluations. You could read up on just so much information here. Don't do it all at once. Take it a bit at a time. Just learn more and more about what there is to know. And this is this little book, and there's the anything you're looking for. You can just look it up in the index. You want to know, well, what's some more on club officer roles? I don't understand what all these people do. How come they've got all these weird names? You can look up in here. There's the meeting roles, and then there's all the different roles. So VP of Ed, what are they supposed to be doing? The public relations person, what do they do? Membership person, who should I talk to about what? You'll get a better idea if you have a look at this. So let's go back to the beginning. Now, for those of you who haven't logged in at all, haven't done anything, you can actually look at the education programs without ever logging in. It says log in at the top. I went and did all of this without logging in. So I just hit on education programs right there. Just clicked on that word, and there it is, Pathways. See, there's two others, Speechcraft. It's a short 6 to 8 week program that we quite often put on from the different clubs, and our youth programs. But you're an adult and you're in the full program. You want to know what's going on in Pathways. That's our big program. And here are the 6 paths. When you click on that, the paths, and so we've got leadership, humor, motivational strategies, persuasive influence. So if you're having to negotiate with people or sit down and mediate things or interview people, this might be the kind that you want to look at. And then there's the speaking, mostly speaking, presentation mastery. By the end of that 15 projects, you're doing a 18 to 20 minute speech. You're getting ready to put together something like a motivational speech or a presentation. And visionary communication makes you look at your communication style, and it gets you thinking about what's your vision? What is it you want to use communication for in your job or in whatever aspect you're wanting to use it? So these are the key ones. Now, these are all active icons. And when you click on them, and I'll just do dynamic leadership as an example, you get a nice little write-up about what that particular program is. As I said, that first level is going to be the same. A good part of the second level is repeated in many of the paths. And then we really get into the distinguishing parts of the bigger items in levels 3, 4, and 5. So if you opened up each of those icons and just read this top information, it will help you narrow down quite quickly what it is you're interested in doing. Because I read them and I go, no, I don't want to do that. I read something else and go, ooh, that's more like me. That's more interesting. I could see how I could use that. So if you do that, it will start narrowing down what you want. So we took a really close look at that level 1. Don't worry too much about all these other levels, because it's going to take you a couple of months to get through level 1. But just to give you an overview, there's 3 big projects, and they're right here at the top. So in level 3, it's negotiate the best outcome. In level 4, the big project you're going to do is on managing change in an organization in some way. And I've got to do this carefully so I don't lose it. The big one in level 5 is lead in any situation. Most of these ones in level 5 are going to take you a while because you're going to have to either build a team. In this case, you're going to build a team of people who are going to help you to do a major project. It can be a work project. It might be a community project. It might be you're putting on an event for the community. You're putting on the Santa parade in your local community, whatever it is. You're going to put that together, lead it, and then review it and have other people review it when you're finished it. In every level, there are electives. The electives in level 3 are mostly these items that are at the top, and the items in level 2 being recycled top to bottom so that everybody gets an opportunity to do them if they want. And you do 2 out of the about 13 or 14 that are listed. Many of this came from the best of the programs over all the years in Toastmasters. So they took the storytelling. They took managing the difficult audience, doing specialty speeches like eulogies, or what many people come to Toastmasters the first time for is how do you give the toast to the bride at a wedding? So a lot of those are there in level 3 in the electives. Level 4 brings us into the 21st century. There's a lot of digital stuff. So you can do a social media presence, or what is your social media presence, or how are you going to change your social media presence in today's world? Maybe you want to do podcasting, manage online meetings. If your club is Zoom or hybrid, and you are the Toastmaster, now you're talking level 4. We're talking a ways out for most of you. But the thing is if you are in a club that offers that, or you work in a situation, and maybe it's a corporate club, and you can manage the Toastmasters meeting or a club executive meeting and get another Toastmaster to do the feedback for you, that can be the project. They're also doing a blog in here and some other things. In fact, let's just have a look at what these electives look for. Like, can I get forward? No, it's not going to let me move forward till I move this back. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Oh, and that's what happens as soon as I try and touch my screen. Okay. I'm not the greatest techie person. Let me find, I'm finding my place. I'll be right back with you. We're there. That's the one I want. There we go. Okay. Always interesting to get involved here. No, it's not doing what I want. Please, from the current slide. All right, failing that, let's see if we can just get rid of that. All right, so here we have all of these electives. When you get this slide deck, or go into Toastmasters International and bring up one of those icons and you can see them and you can read through all of them. And the ones in level 5 are even bigger still. You're only doing a couple of projects and a number of meeting rules, but the projects in level 4 and 5 start to get much bigger than what you were used to in the lower levels. You can sample your first project. That's the icebreaker. You can actually go in and read through some of the icebreaker stuff. If you are if you're more comfortable in a language other than English, there are many to choose from. So you can choose your speeches, well, unless you're in the French club or the Russian club or the Mandarin club in our district, then your speeches will be in English. But you can take your tutorials in the language of your choice. And then right down at the very bottom, when you go to that sample your first project, you can actually go in and read through it. So before you even spend any money, or if you've got a friend that says, well, what's it all about? You can tell them how to do this. And I've got it all written up on just one slide, how to do it. And you can copy that and send it to them. And they can have a look through this and see what on earth it is you've got interested in. So there we are. We've got all of this stuff. Now, oh, I had a filler word. Can't believe it. So here we are. We go back to the space camp. Andrea's laughing her head off. The people in my club would be laughing too. So you go to base camp, and when you click on that, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get the tutorial. And they aren't just plain and boring. They're actually quite well put together. The other thing is that right now, when you go to this, you don't get this as your first page. You get a first page that tells you all about what you're going to be doing for the next number of months. And it tells you all of the meeting roles that you'll be doing during that time as well. And we've already discussed what's in level 1. So that's the majority of what we wanted to cover. Also on this page, there's the evaluation resource. So you can look at the evaluation form. You can have that ready to send to your evaluator. Here's this where this is everything I've just done with you. How to find out all about pathways, the paths, how you can open up those icons, how you can look at the electives, how you can sample your first project. If you're already into Toastmasters or you want to do that right away, you can do that and still open up all of this stuff. Or you can just go straight to select a path. It's going to offer you the same opportunities to look at some of the things. And then you select your path. And even if it says you owe money, you don't. When you get to the very end of it, it will say 0, because once you are a paid up member, you get this first path. Please remember that. And please invite guests to come with you to see what you're doing, or even send them some of this information. Say, this is what I'm doing, and it's so neat. It's so exciting. So this is where we're at in this program. I want to really stop sharing, so I'm going to say we're going to have Q&A, but take 1 second. This is when you do need a pencil. If you want to write down my name and my email address, and you have any problems getting through any of this or signing up, get a hold of me. There was a couple on the last month and they couldn't get in. And when I contacted their VPE, somebody hadn't paid their money and they thought they weren't sure about how to pay. So we had to put them back in contact with the treasurer to pay the money, and then we got them in and signed up. So getting a hold of me, I can troubleshoot some of those things for you. And that's about it. Oh. And I just...
Maureen, I just wanted to mention that I put in the chat Sandra Savage's PDF, which is a fantastic resource for you to see what the speech projects are all about. It's all hyperlinked. And so you can see from one path to another what's included and what's not. And hopefully that resource is helpful for people.
I've also just emailed it to all of you. I've blind copied you for privacy, but you can reply to that email if you've got a question for Maureen, Louisa, or myself on anything Pathways related or what you've heard tonight.
And I got a chuckle out of this magazine from 2013, and it was talking about technology and how Toastmasters is moving into technology. Little did they know what was going to come in 2020 when we couldn't meet in person and we had to learn how to do all of this on Zoom. So with that, I'm going to stop my sharing, get all of us back up on here. We're just coming up on the 8:30. We've got about 8 to 10 minutes. And I will stay on afterwards, especially for you, Kathy, if you want to talk about anything with the VPE, or we can go and have a look at all of this, what they're calling enhancements, and see how we get at those. All right, I've got all of that information. So all of the rest of you that this is all brand new to, let me just ask a few people some questions. So Andrea, was there anything here that was really helpful tonight?
I think so. I hadn't really looked through any of the paths and the details yet, so I was actually following along as you were showing us your screen. I logged in really quickly and tried to stay on the same screen that you were. So that was very, very helpful, but I haven't selected a path.
Fabulous. I quite often tell people, if you've got a way of doing this or even signing in while I'm talking, do it. So that would be a good thing to do right now, is just go to toastmasters.org and see if you can actually get in and get a password. Do it now while it's fresh in your mind of what to do. That was really great. Thank you for suggesting that. Oksana, how did this make sense? Did it help you to feel that you're going to be able to do this?
Yes, absolutely. That was very helpful. I do have access to my account, and I was able to go through some pathways, but with your presentation I will do that one more time, because now I know where to look and where to find some additional information. So I will just put two screens together and go through your slides and to mimic everything on the website to understand how that works and to get a better idea on the pathways and select the one for me that will work best.
Excellent. Couldn't have said it better. Thank you. That's what we needed to know. Natalie, how's it going for you? You
Good.
getting the feel of this?
Yeah, I missed a lot because I don't know, for some reason I had all this static. Regardless, I can hear you now.
Okay.
And I previously tried to go onto my pathway and I got stuck, which is why this Zoom meeting was really helpful. And so I'm trying to focus on presentation, but
Mhm.
then went in, I wasn't able to see what you were talking about. So I'm going to try it again and see if I can go in and learn more about that.
Okay. And if you still have some problems with opening the program, sometimes I meet with people on Zoom and I watch what they're doing, and it's just that it just not clicking a particular link in a particular rotation. And sometimes I even get looping around in it, and then I just go, okay, go back to the beginning. So then I just go back to the beginning of that level, and the index, or whatever you want to call it, the little strip down the left-hand side that tells you everything you're going to do in this level. You just go back and start at the top and start going through things. So give us some troubleshooting tries yourself, and if you get messed up, get a hold of me.
Thank you so much.
I'll get on Zoom with you. Okay?
Thank you.
Anyone else? Kathy, was there anything in there that you're going to find helpful when you're talking to the members in your club?
It's very helpful. And actually, what I'm looking forward to is the video, the tape of this, the recording, because we have started doing a Zoom call with new members. But with the two presentations this evening, just such great information and context. And I think a really great resource for new members. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Because we need feedback too. And if you have feedback from tonight, or you've got some ideas of what we should be adding or doing in this opening session for the new members, if you've got suggestions, we're always open to hear them, because we're giving it from a perspective of people who we've been around for 20 years, some of us, and we need to know what's going to help it for you and for the new member that's just walked in, because it is so much. Kathy will tell you, it is so much for the VPE of each club to try and explain all of this stuff. And you do get letters from Toastmasters and they say, try this and go there. But that personal touch, or having a mentor, another person in the club that's, even if they're only at level 3 or 4, they've just gone through all of this, and they're going to be able to help you as well. Any questions? Any questions? Gosh, answered everything?
Maureen,
I
Maureen, I have some questions. I wrote them into the chat earlier.
Okay.
I have a few, so I will maybe pause between if other people have. But the first one I wanted to know was, after you complete a path and then you decide to do another path, do you reuse kind of the credit that you have from these duplicate sessions, or you redo the duplicated item?
The level 1, all of us, and it doesn't matter how many paths we've done, and some of us have
You
done
read it.
6 and 7 and 8. You do them, but you do them with a different view in mind. The second time you're doing the icebreaker, one, it should be better. It should be better organized. You should have learned a lot. and then finding those things to share. I think the one I did a couple of weeks ago was 3 days that changed my life. And I talked about 3 different times in my life that a move changed everything in my life. So it's finding those things that go beyond what you were doing before. Speech with a purpose is still any speech you want, and it's any topic. And when you're having to do them over again, you're having to search your mind for what is going to make a good speech, what is going to connect with an audience. What is it that I know that I could share? So you're pushing yourself to prepare a better speech. And it reminds you, you don't just get up there and rattle it off. You've got to make it interesting. You've got to use that vocal variety. You've got to draw people in. That opening sentence, those first 8 words, they need to capture people. So you start working at that kind of a level, Andrea. It's not just about getting a speech and getting up and learning. It's now about practice, 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 and you're never going to get to perfect. But it's knowing that you've put in more effort and you're getting a better product. And through that, you also become a leader and a mentor and a model to those new people that are coming in the door. That answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
And you said you had a couple of others.
I do have others. Another question I had was, is there a typical order that people tend to do the paths? You said the humor was a typical early one, but I see something like the visionary. That's probably not people's first foray
Now,
into
a lot of
Toastmasters.
people, when they've read through those write-ups, depending on where they are in their life or their career, something just twigs and they go, I really should do that. I should have a better vision for what I'm trying to communicate to people at meetings. The majority of people take presentation mastery, and I think that's the one that VPEs suggest most often if people aren't sure, because it's all the basics. You don't miss really anything, and you don't have to do any of the leadership stuff. They take more time. And you can, especially if you're in a situation where you might be doing presentations that are 10, 15, 20 minutes, you get an opportunity to practice for that. And there's one in there, it's that deal with a difficult audience. Well, that's always a good one if you're speaking in front of other people that you work with or a volunteer organization, and you know you're going to get some feedback that you may not want to listen to. How do you learn to deal with that? So when you start looking at the past and you look at the primary things that you're going to be asked to do, it helps to is a great place to start. I've followed that up with visionary communication because that took me a step further. And a leadership one along the way, because I work in a volunteer, I'm retired, but I work in a big volunteer organization in the summer. And that helped me to put together my teams of people. So you're finding things that work for you. And then I think because that we started with my club, somebody did the engaging humor and we were laughing so hard at some of the speeches. There's only 4 that you really have to put humor into. But then the next person wanted to have a crack at it. And I couldn't even believe it. I was doing it. And we found out that we all had slightly different senses of humor. Some people were after the irony. Some were just, they were the joke masters. But it's not about telling jokes. It's about how do you bring humor into a speech that it just livens the speech and captures the attention of the audience.
Andrea, I just wanted to mention that there's no wrong answer here.
No.
If you want to improve public speaking, absolutely all the paths will do that. You're going to have 15 speech projects for each of the paths. A lot of the projects overlap. What might be a mandatory for one is an elective in another. So therefore, there's not too much difference. There's about 5 speech projects that might be unique to a particular path, 4 or 5. And some of those even are still electives. So what I would do is take a look at that document I included, that PDF, play around with it and just see what's there. And if it appeals to you, great. The other thing is if you log in, there is an option to take a little quiz. And the quiz, if you answer it honestly, it'll give you, here's the top 2 or 3 paths that we recommend based on your answers. And so that may help you with deciding. But like I said, there's no wrong answers. You're going to improve. If you do the speech projects, you're going to improve.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Another thing on the paths themselves, with the first path you go through, we pretty much say you should do the stuff in order, at least. Well, you have to do 1 and 2, levels 1 and 2 pretty much in order, because it doesn't make any sense to move on. But there are things in level 3 and the electives that you're going to want to look at. And you might have an opportunity to do one of those as you're moving through level 1 and 2. There's active listening is in there, which is just another name for table topics. So you can actually go in, select active listening if you're going to be the table topics master at the meeting, and go through the tutorial, because it's going to give you some really good information on that. It's not just about asking questions, it's about listening to the answers and how then you respond to the people and do that segue. How do you move from one person to the next person? And then you could do that elective early. You're not going to get credit showing up for it until you've done level 2. Like, you can't go in and do level 3 and think you're going to have level 1 and 3 done. It's going to be there in the background, but you're not going to get to complete that until you've done level 2, and then you can kind of have level 2 and 3 done at the same time. And I don't really encourage people to go in unless there's something in level 4 electives that is just going to really work for you while you're still working in level 3, maybe. Once you've done a path or 2, what a lot of us do is we get a path that we just sort of put up there, and then, oh, you've got a story you want to tell and you're working in level 5 and it's taking you months and months. Then you go over and it's sort of that grab bag path, and you go in there and take out storytelling and you do it and you've got an elective done. But that's a little on down the line. And I saw Kathy nodding her head in agreement. Okay, I think we're now past time and people are wanting to probably get off and have some time of their evening. I will stay on if anybody wants to go in and have a look at any of this stuff in Toastmasters International. I will do that. And so, Kathy, I'm here, and we'll just give a couple of minutes to refresh. And
all right, you
I'm
can
going to stop the recording there.
Yeah, I was
But
going to say
thank you,
stop the
everybody.
recording.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. It seems like you enjoyed it. I hope we were entertaining while being informative. And congratulations for being part of our district video, which will be shared with all those who choose to and seek it out. But yes, we appreciate it, and your feedback as well in the link that I put in the chat. So thank you very much.